right, you guys, a lot of people don't know the proper way to use Dip Brow. Brow pomade of any sort. There are lots of good ones. Sigma has great ones, BH has great ones, Anastasia Beverly Hills, obviously. I feel like a lot of companies have these products now. So basically today I want to show you how to use Dip Brow the proper way. Now feel free to use Dip Brow however the fuck you want, obviously, to each their own, but this is how it was intended by Anastasia herself. The first thing that you want to do is brush your brows out. Now, if you are like me and you have my brows aren't like completely terrible, but they're pretty sparse. I have very fine blonde hair, especially this guy. Like, what the fuck is happening up here? So let's talk about the shape of our brows. So you can see my eyebrows are like fairly, like the shape in here is actually quite nice. I have quite a bit of hair, decent like spread. Over here, it's a little bit of a it's a different story. It's a little bit more sparse in here. I've got this kind of like tiny bald patch right there. And then the rest of it is questionable. So basically what I like to do is set my brows, brush them up and set them using soap. Now, you don't have to use soap. You can use a wax. You can use a brow gel. My favorite brow gel before I started using soap was the Tartiste brow gel. Fantastic. It really holds the hairs. It's great. It shouldn't dry out your brow hairs. I know a lot of people who have thicker or like dry skin say soap is just way too drying for them. I understand that. The soap that I do use is by Dr. Bronner's, I believe. I keep it in a baggie. It's super cute and hygienic. I just got it at Target. Basically what I do is take a little bit of a setting mist. You can use water. It doesn't matter. I've got this thing by MAC, so I'm just going to spritz it a tiny bit. Can you see that? Can you see the water in there? And then I use my little spoolie and I do this. You feel me? And then I basically use this damp soap to brush up my brow hairs. Now I like to brush them up and out. Depends on how fluffy you want to get. You don't have to get super fluffy. You don't have to brush them straight up. I kind of do like this motion, you know? You also want to be careful not to drag it all along your skin if you already have foundation down, because that can remove coverage. It can also like put down like a waxy, weird brush strokes like all around your eyebrows that can be like very obvious. You don't even have to do this if you really don't want to, but this is my process. So if you don't feel like putting any kind of brow gel, wax, or soap through your brows, just stay tuned, kids. Or fast forward, whatever, I don't know. It's 2020. We have that technology. All right, so that's how I like them. This one might be a little bit out of control. There we go. We're up. We're on our way to Jack Nicholson already. Oh, also my spoolie is by Sigma. There's a bunch of them. You can use the NYX one. You can use the Kylie Cosmetics one. You can use the e.l.f. one. Doesn't fucking matter. You want that to set. You want to allow that enough time. You don't have to wait like a super long amount of time. I've probably been waiting like a minute or so. Now I am going to go in and draw individual brow hairs, because that is what Dip Brow was originally made for. It was not made for these like blocked, chunky brows. That is what Anastasia intended it for. Now, I don't have the Anastasia brushes. I used to. They died, and I never rebought them. Repurchased. So today I'm going to be using the Kylie Jenner Kai Brow pencil. This is a great one because it's nice and thin. Look at how thin. Whoo! It disappears. NYX has a great one. I believe e.l.f. has one. You might want to look for something that's going to be a little bit more on the thin side. I think the NYX one might not be like super duper thin, but it's still really good and it's super affordable. So today I'm going to be using the Dip Brow in taupe. My only beef, actually, you know what's really funny? When I actually had to pick this up because I realized I didn't have any Dip Brow. When I was at Sephora and I was looking at them, taupe isn't that much darker than blonde. Blonde is like maybe slightly warmer, a little bit more on the red side. But it's about the same value as taupe. When you are trying to like block out your brows, you typically want to use shades that are much lighter than your eyebrow hairs, because otherwise it's literally gonna look like a block. It's literally gonna look like that girl in high school who would just like take like basically an eyeliner pencil and like fill in her brows. You know what I mean? Super flat and terrible. So typically when you go in with like an initial color, you want to use something that's much lighter, and then you want to build some dimension by drawing in individual brow hairs with something that's closer to your brow hair color. Taupe is basically the same color as my brow hairs. So the reason that we're brushing this up now is because I'm not doing an initial fill. I am just going to be filling in the sparse areas, and it's going to create a really natural look. So what I'm going to do is take the side of my brush, dip it into the Dip Brow, just like that. And then if you pick up a little bit too much, I like to kind of tap the sides on the cap to make sure that you don't have any like big amounts of product. And then we are just going to, I like to start off with my good brow first. This is my good brow. Because like, look at it. Isn't it cute? This one, what are you doing? So I'm going to go in and fill in the sparse areas of this one. And then I like to try and match this side. So what I'm doing is I'm taking the tip of the brush and putting it against my skin. And then I'm just brushing like that. Literally creating a brow hair. You don't want to go like this because you're going to drag way too much product. You're going to drag the side of the brush against your skin. So you want to keep it more like that. And then I'm going to use really, really light strokes. And I'm just going to dip back into the cap. So I'm not taking a ton of product. I'm just kind of like picking up whatever's on the cap. And lightly going to brush through. And then if you feel like you need to pick up a little bit more product, go ahead and do that. Make sure that you step back, kind of assess your brow situation. Make sure to pick up more product if you feel like you need a little bit more payoff, something a little bit darker. And then in the areas where you don't really need it to be dark, you can kind of go with like a very light hand, but more quickly. Whew. Look at it from different angles. You want to make sure that you're not just filling it all the exact same way, because obviously there are certain areas of your brows that are going to be way more sparse. They're going to need a little bit more contrast. Do you see the difference? Do you see how natural and amazing that brow looks? Super natural, fluffy, doesn't look like anything. It looks like I just woke up and I have like perfect brows. You know what I mean? Look how fantastic. Now, the tough part is matching the other side. And I will say quickly, if you have a really hard time doing this kind of thing and matching them perfectly, because I understand, maybe you need to draw down some kind of a guide first. Pick up a very thin eyebrow pencil. The one that I would recommend to you right now is the, I think it's CoverGirl. Oh, I'm sorry, it's Maybelline Brow Ultra Slim Pencil. Drugstore, super affordable, fantastic. It's got a little, I don't love the spoolie, but it's fine. But it is super duper fine. See how tiny that is? Amazing. I've been loving this. I actually need to pick up another one. I use this all the time when I just feel like I need a little bit more structure to my brow, when I don't want it to look as like, I don't know, when I'm just not going for like as natural, or if you just feel like you need a little something. So what you can do with this is use this to draw out your guide, make sure that those are even, and then you can use the dip brow to kind of like fill in the areas that are like inside of that of those lines. Just make sure that you're not actually just drawing lines. Does that make sense? I feel like I've done that in like so many videos that I don't really need to show you that. All right, guys, that's how you're supposed to use dip brow. That is legitimately how Anastasia meant for it to be used. It's supposed to be natural, man. It's not supposed to be this like super crazy block. Obviously, to each their own. If you like that, go in. I don't get it, but okay. Can't say I haven't done it in the past. So hopefully you enjoyed this video. I hope that it opened your eyes up to the possibility of dip brows. I am going to link a bunch of dip brow substitutes down below. Dupes, you might want to call them. Some of them are more affordable. Some of them have better colors, but yeah, so that'll be linked down below. That's it. Hope you enjoyed. Hope you learned something. I know it was quick. And that's it. I'm gonna stop saying that's it. I'm gonna go. Bye.